This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I are going to be talking about the big moves happening in the NFL, from some of the free agent moves to Myles Garrett signing a record-setting extension. What does this mean about Myles? Does he care about coming back to Cleveland, or is it just a money grab? Then we're also going to be talking about March Madness coming up. Who are the real contenders? Who are the teams that we think have a shot to win it all? And finally, does Alex Ovechkin break the record this year to become the all-time leading goal scorer? All that and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to an episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and I apologize if I sound sicker than a dog because, I've been sick. So if I sound like I have like a balloon over my head, it's because that's what it feels like. But no, we are here. Weather's getting nicer. We have March Madness literally right around the corner. We've had some craziness happen in the NFL. We've had craziness happen in baseball. Hockey's still going on. The NBA is still going on. It is one of those favorite times of the year, Josh, where we just get to watch sports and see the chaos of sports unfold in front of us, and then we get to talk about it, which is so much fun. Josh, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. I actually got told last week that I sounded sick and needed to blow my nose, but it was because we recorded that about 20 minutes after I woke up, and my voice
That
still
is
just
true.
that was the first
Yeah.
time I was talking all day. But today I think I sound cleaner. It's been about 2 hours since I've been up. I got up, got a workout in before recording over here, enjoying some sunlight since we did spring ahead. The days are going to be
Yeah.
getting longer. I'm going to be seeing some brighter days. I got to enjoy some of the nice weather over the
Yeah.
weekend, celebrating some friends of mine. Their 2-year-old son had a birthday party, so
There you
it's
go.
going to be a we're off to a good start this springtime, Ben. You were just telling me before we recorded here that now we're 5 hours apart when we record, so that makes it a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
easier,
For
I know, on your end
this
for
week,
things.
only we're 5 hours apart. So I think it's this weekend. Yeah. I think Sunday, I think we go back to 6 hours. But yeah, it's one of those weird times where like I figure it out usually when like my mom or dad call and I'm going, wait a minute, you're normally not up at this time. And so then it starts clicking that we're switched. But no,
Yeah.
it's been good weather here too. Excited. Football season started. I have had like no break. We had scrimmages this past weekend. Then our first game for our second team, which I'm the head coach of, we have a game in like a week and a half. So yeah, it's busy. But you know what also is busy is the new NFL offseason has started. And I
Hmm.
know I think we should start with the big elephant in the room that is affecting more of us Ohioans than we might
Hmm.
admit to. So, Josh, why don't you go over the details, and then you'll get to hear my lovely thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I think I got some on this too to share. So we thought it was a foregone conclusion, you
You
and I,
did,
that Miles,
you did.
well,
I
I
said I
did.
did not know.
Okay. I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Myles Garrett would not be a Cleveland Brown next season. With how adamant he was, I didn't care what Andrew Berry was saying. Miles was on his, media tour telling everyone what he didn't like about Cleveland and why he wanted to go win somewhere else, the Cleveland to Canton dream. He hoped it would happen, but didn't see a path to a Super Bowl in Cleveland. So that's ultimately what he wanted to do. And then it comes out that Barry forked out some cash, man, and at the end of the day, money talks, and Garrett is the
Yeah,
highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history now, Ben. He is staying in
yeah.
Cleveland for at least
Six
these next
years
four, it'll be
plus
6 seasons.
two.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was 4 years added on.
yeah,
But yeah, I'll go ahead and let you share your
yeah.
thoughts. I definitely got some here,
I
but initial thought is, dang, what a shocker. But then
yeah.
thinking more about it, I don't know, I'll let you go over first. Maybe we share
No,
same.
yeah. I view it this way. One, everyone has a price, and I've always said this. Everyone has a price, and they're like. I know Rich Eisen actually did a really good discussion about this, where he said like he almost feels betrayed by Myles Garrett because he came on his show and said that he wanted to trade. He was no way he was going back to Cleveland, right? And I think, but I think Rich Eisen said the same thing. Like everyone has a price. Like there's gonna be a point where you're going because I believe what a lot of people are saying is like the Browns were not going to trade him, Josh, and I really believe that the Browns were just like, dude, we will let you sit out for 2 years and we just won't trade you. And I think I think Miles is a guy who loves football, man. We know that. We've watched him for the last, 6, 7 years. He loves football, right? So I think in reality, does it click in his head going like, okay, yeah, we might not win a championship? Or was there something that Andrew Barry said and the leadership said that, hey, we're going to try to win this year, like, and we're going to put the pieces we can together? And so it's interesting. Look, I for the Browns for fan base, like I'm so excited because we could see 6 more years, pretty much the rest of his career in a Browns uniform, and that is awesome because he is probably one of the best defenders we've ever seen, at least in modern day. Um, I think when it comes to the 40 million, look, you pay what you get, man. Like he's the best pass rusher in the NFL, and yeah, it might be a little steep. I just hate to be Bengals fans right now because dang, you're screwing over your own like
Bengals are screwed, man. They could
dude.
have had T. Higgins, Jamar
And they
Chase,
could have
and
done
Trey
this 2 years
Hendrickson
ago. 2 years
all under
ago.
contracts right now.
two
And
years
instead, they're
ago.
probably only going to be able to afford one. Yep, because they let the market
And
reset, and
no,
that's what
and so
happens. You
that's why
blink.
like I look at this and I go, look, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. I think this means I don't think Nick Chubb's coming back unless Nick Chubb says, hey, I'll come back on a minimum, which sucks a little bit, I think, but we don't know what Nick Chubb is because he hasn't looked the same. We both talked about that. Um, we'll see what they do at quarterback. I know we're going to get into more of the free agency stuff here in a second. So let's focus on Myles Garrett. But also, I think just for Myles himself, I think this is a great way to maybe this is like a way to mend fences if there are broken fences. I don't know if there are. This could be a lot of show. I'm starting to feel like Miles maybe put a little bit more of a show on than he let on, and I think this could have been him maybe all along trying to get money. It wouldn't surprise me if he was just doing this to get money. We've seen it before, and we've seen it 1,000 times. So those are my thoughts. I don't hate the move. Again, it's a lot of money, but to be honest, at least he's productive over Deshaun. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I think at the end of the day, like he's a Brown that we both have. We've never said really anything negative about him outside of him hitting a guy with a helmet. This is about the only thing I've ever seen negative about him. Outside of that, he's been a constant professional for the team, a great player, a great community guy. And I think he's going to continue doing that. I don't think this is going to change him. I just think that he now gets what he deserves.
Yeah, my take on it is rooted in kind of like the same thing with you. Everything has a price. Money talks. Like everybody will go somewheres or stay somewhere as long as the money is just too much to turn down. And we saw Max Crosby get the big contract, so you knew it was going to have to be something more than that if he was going to have to stay. And so, yeah, it does make the whole team salary cap interesting since we're paying a lot of money to Deshaun and now paying a lot more money to Myles Garrett makes you wonder what we can do. And it also makes you wonder what's going through Myles' head because he doesn't believe that Cleveland has a shot to win anytime soon. That's why he wanted to request this trade. And now because he's got $40 million coming a year, he just, changes his mind, says that, oh, I think we can win in Cleveland now.
That's
So
why I
it's just
don't
kind of like
believe.
a,
That's
I
why I
don't
don't believe he was ever wanting to leave. That's why I
well,
can't believe it.
I was gonna say I don't even know if I really believe that we can win in Cleveland. It's just the money was too good. Everything has a price. So he's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'll
yeah.
give up the dream of winning in order to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history and stay in Cleveland. So it's kind of like I don't really know what to make of your take, Miles, or your word. I mean, you lose a little bit of respect from that
Yeah,
standpoint,
I
but
do. Yeah, I do a little bit. I do think it's funny though about the Bengals though. I just think I love that we screwed over the Bengals. And also the fact that DK Metcalf got traded to the Steelers, which also resets the wide receiver kind of area where me with money, and I just think it's hilarious. Also, we've kind of screwed over the Cowboys because now Micah Parsons is going to be like, "Hey, hello, I would like to have
mhm.
about 45 million, please."
You got to be the first one
You
on,
have to.
honestly.
You
And
have
and it
to.
always sucks to like have to be the first one to be like, well, we have to make this guy the highest paid. Like, dang, that sucks. But it's like if you wait, then it's like, okay,
Look at
this
like
guy
at the
goes, this guy goes,
Braves.
this guy goes. Yeah, we saw
Like,
this with wide receivers not too long ago, with
yeah,
when Tyreek Hill kind of reset the market with the Dolphins, and then everyone else was getting like 30 some million dollars a year, and it's like we've never seen that before. And so Justin
no,
Jefferson, I think, is currently
yeah,
the
he's at
highest paid wide
35.
receiver. Yeah. So and then after the season that Jamar just had with the Triple Crown, it's like Jamar already should have been the highest paid
He's going to
last
get like
year.
45 million a year.
Yeah,
He's going
but
to.
yeah, after getting that Triple Crown, it's like, man, you really screwed yourself, Cincy. And then Trey Hendrickson, leading sack guy the last 2 seasons. Now you're even more screwed, especially if they wait till Parsons signs an
Dude,
extension, and then they're just tagging T, I think, until he's a free agent and walks. But yeah, it definitely sucks for them. But that's kind of like my thought with Miles is lost a little bit of respect because I don't really believe anything he says now. It's cool that he is in Cleveland. I don't believe he thinks we can win here, but he got what he wanted. So he's a Brown at least for the next 6 seasons now, probably for the rest of his NFL career, unless some kind of big trade happens.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah, that's the deal in Cleveland.
and that leads me into like my second thought here, Josh, is that um the Browns really haven't done anything in free agency. They've signed a linebacker. I just read a news thing that they just signed a defense tackle 2 years for 30 million, but yet they released Tomlinson, who was actually pretty good on the interior. I didn't understand that move. But then you also trade DTR, which thank goodness you got rid of DTR because that man can't throw to save his life. You trade him for Kenny Pickett, which okay, like it's not like you really lost.
It's a slight upgrade for your backup or third
Give him
string
a fifth
quarterback.
grade. You give a fifth round pick. I think that look, this is where I've always believed is that I never thought that we just got news right as we're recording this that Russell Wilson's setting up a meeting, which will be on Thursday. So as this is getting edited and stuff, but it's very fascinating to me because I don't understand why Russell would look at the Browns unless the only other thing I could think of is obviously he had Jerry Jeudy the one year he was in Denver.
Hmm.
I don't know how his relationship is with Miles. I don't know if this is a Miles poll. Like, hey, Miles is like, look, I'll sign this as long as you go after Russell. I don't know. But I also think about Kirk Cousins as well. He's probably going to get released, or at least somewhat of a release here in the next few weeks. So I'm interested to see what they do in the rest of that. That's the interesting thing. Obviously, we've seen DK Metcalf get traded. Talk about the Seahawks. The Seahawks have just decided to go like freaking atomic
Seahawks are
bomb,
going nuclear, man. That's going to make their draft a little more
and
interesting.
yet Sam Darnold decided to go there. Didn't understand that at all, but we'll go with it. Daniel Jones going to the Colts.
To the
Like,
Colts, yeah.
dude, what is going on in the NFL? Josh, I said this right before we started. I was like, the NFL is just getting weird. Like the weird
Well,
places, the money, it's just odd.
yeah. Why don't we start with Seattle? Because we mentioned when we were talking in the draft, like maybe I don't know how much this affects. We can talk about how some of these
Oh,
moves might affect some of
my
our
dad
draft
loved
picks.
it. My dad loved to tell us how like we should have. You should have waited till after the free agency started. I'm like, Dad, it would not have mattered because it's Mach 1, Dad. Just so you know,
It's
Dad,
mock
it's
one.
Mach
Usually
1.
people, usually like all the writers will do like a post Super Bowl mock, then they'll do a pre combine mock, a post combine mock. Like there's a lot of different ones that you can do. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Seahawks, yeah, Gino traded away to Vegas, so maybe they have a quarterback now. I
Is
know I was on the Shador Sanders train to Vegas initially, or maybe Gino's a veteran in the building to get Shador ready. I don't know, but yeah, they trade Gino away and they bring in basically another veteran quarterback. I think an upgrade, bringing Sam Darnold in over Gino. But who's he going to throw to now that DK
also,
was
what are
traded
the
away to
Vikings doing
Pittsburgh
either?
and
Like
Tyler Lockett is cut?
Vikings also like, are you sure about JJ? Are you sure?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the other thing is okay if they didn't. I mean, this was really the first good year that Sam Darnold's had in his career, so it's a
And they didn't
risk
keep
to
Daniel
pay him
Jones
that much
either.
money. But you also got JJ as your 10th overall pick, and you would have had to have believed in him last year
Yeah.
to make that pick. Maybe he's even the starter last year if he doesn't have that knee injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't have any reason to believe that that they're doubting JJ already. Uh, yeah, Pittsburgh bringing in DK to pair up with
That's a great
George
steal, by the
Pickens
way.
now.
You got to
Yeah,
steal for that.
you did for what was it, a
Second rounder. That's it.
second rounder? Yeah, very good
So
pick
like
there.
there's no guy even in the draft this year in the second round that is even close to that.
Right. So they get, like I said, a solid option there. But
Don't have a
since
quarterback.
right, if Russell's signing in Cleveland or elsewhere, and we know Justin Fields is a New York Jet now, I wonder who they'll be grabbing
Kirk
to
Cousins is what
throw the
I'm have a
football.
funny feeling.
It could be.
Or they go quarterback in the draft, which I mean, there's still a decent arms. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do, unless Aaron Rodgers. That's just
Yeah,
weird, though.
Aaron Rodgers is still available, but Pittsburgh also has that crazy magic that they don't, it doesn't really matter who's throwing the football, they're going to win 10 games, but lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
So
of course, it's
it's like
Pittsburgh,
what good was it?
and they also lost Najee Harris as well. He left.
Yes, signs with the Chargers,
Yeah,
which I think that really, it's a Jim Harbaugh style running back, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, a guy who doesn't really pass catch, just runs downhill and runs over people. Yes.
About 4 yards a carry, can be a workhorse for you.
Yeah. They
Is
lose
that
Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa goes to the Bills of all places.
Let's talk about Bosa because the Bills definitely needed a pass rusher. Obviously whiffed on the if there was any trade talks for Myles Garrett, weren't able to make that happen. If there was any trade talk with Max Crosby, that didn't happen. Both signed extensions. They cut Von Miller, so there was even a bigger need. And let's see, Khalil Mack stayed with the Chargers. Josh Sweat leaves the Eagles, goes to the Cardinals. And Joey actually initially signed with the 49ers. He was going to team up with his brother Nick, and that was going to be like a sweet little reuniting over there. But Buffalo, I guess out of desperation or just out of sheer need, was just like, we cannot miss out on another one.
Well, I also know
Let's go
that
get
49ers
Joey.
were having salary problems too because they've cut a bunch of guys. So I don't know even know if
Yeah,
they had the
they
money to
had to
do it.
clear money. They had to clear money to even be able to bring Joey in to begin with, and Buffalo beat him to the punch before they could all make that happen.
I mean, heck, they released their fullback who's been there an eight-time Pro Bowler for
Kyle
them.
Juszczyk, yeah, it's like that's the guy you're cutting. Like, how much money is he eating in your cap?
No, he was making like 6 or 7 million a year as a
Which is a lot
fullback.
for a fullback, but still, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. And like also, I saw that a former Ohio State long snapper signed a 3-year deal, making like at least 3.5 million guaranteed as a long snapper. I'm like, dude, I missed my calling. I was a long snapper. Like, dude, these dudes are making $1 million to snap a ball. Like, honestly. But no, yeah, nuts.
Yeah. Dallas signed I think it's Dallas signed a special teamer to 3 year 18 million. It's
Yeah.
the richest deal for a special teamer in
And
history.
fun fact about that guy is he played here in Europe for 2 years and was an all star and all conference player in the league here in Europe. So fun fact. But also
All right.
I wanted to say about the Dallas Cowboys, they have still not signed a free agent deal for more than 6.5 million since 2015. You know who that was?
For more than 6.5?
Yes. You'll
Mm,
never guess this. He's not even
well,
in the
I'm
NFL anymore.
okay, well, I'm gonna try.
Okay.
For more than six. Amari
Yep.
Cooper was a trade, right?
Yep.
Hmm. Someone that's not in the NFL anymore.
And he currently is in another sport.
Oh, another sport?
Yep.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna get it then.
Greg Hardy.
Oh, wow.
Greg
It's been
Hardy,
a
who's
long
in
time.
MMA, he's now, but he, I think it was like 1 year, 7 million or something like that. It was like 1 year, 7 million
Yeah,
or
that would
something
have
like that.
been after Carolina cut him for all the like domestic violence
Yeah,
accusations, and Dallas was willing to take a
of
flyer
course they
on him.
were. Of course they were. Um, yeah, so that's interesting. But you know what's more interesting in the state of Texas is how the Houston Texans traded away Laramie Tunsil for
That was a
literally
very
you
puzzling
you
move.
trade him away because you could barely protect CJ Stroud as is. So why don't we just trade him away and trade our starting guard away to do what? Because now CJ Stroud's sitting there going, excuse me, pardon, I would
Yeah.
like to I would like to be protected. I do not want to become a Caleb Williams. Because the Bears are doing the complete opposite. To be honest, the Bears have had the best offseason of any team. They've gotten 3 stud offensive linemen. They've gotten some defensive players. They've got some offensive weapons. Like they're saying Caleb is our guy. We're going to protect him at all cost. CJ Stroud's going, um, hey coach, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? Because I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I think that just further solidifies that Houston's going offensive line in this draft. That
Yes.
move did confuse me because Tunzel, being as good as he is, like that's a guy that you'd want to hold on to. Uh, Before I get into more of maybe like what picks I might be changing, I gotta get your thoughts on Justin Fields to the Jets because I know you're a big
Yeah,
Justin
I
guy.
am. I am.
I'm probably the biggest Justin Fields hater that I
You
know,
are.
simply because I
You're a
think all
freaking
the love
hater.
is just outrageous. But Justin, I think the only thing that he's proven so far is that there were more issues going on in Chicago than just him, because and it also proved that Pittsburgh can win no matter who's at quarterback. Pittsburgh had about same amount of wins when Justin started, with about half the numbers that Russell Wilson put up, but they each came up with like 5 wins apiece, I think. Russell, of course, had
You
like
know,
over 2,000 passing yards and
such a
double the
hater.
touchdowns. It's like, okay, they were winning. I won't say in spite of Justin, because Justin also wasn't turning the ball over as much as he was in Chicago, but I don't know. The Jets getting him for 2 years, I think that just is a move that says they either don't believe in any of the top quarterback prospects in this draft, or they're waiting to take a guy next year. And Justin's at least good enough that they don't have to suffer as
Same for
much. I
Arch
don't
Manning.
know.
Are we saying Arch Manning next year? No.
Tank for Arch.
I look. I actually I like the move for Justin, man. Like again, I was like semi hoping he'd just come to Cleveland just for the heck of it, and we just have a little fun. But no, look, I think for Justin, like, man, he just needs a place to believe in him, man. Like, I really believe that because I don't think, like, you could say Chicago believed in him. They didn't. If they believed in him, they would have done what they've done with Caleb, and they've put
Yeah, there
six
wasn't any
dudes on the
belief
offensive
there.
line, right? Like, and they had a terrible coach and everything like that. Look, I think you have to give him a chance because you see the glimpses of what he can do. Like, he is like a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Like, that's kind of what he is becoming, right?
Very
Where,
poor man's, maybe even a
yes,
homeless man's.
yeah, but look, there's a lot of people that don't like him, and I okay, college, like I think a lot of people love college Justin Fields. I think a lot of people did because he was just a freak in college, and there was no one that could really stop him. Um, I think let's just see what he does this year. I really think that Justin has something there. I've always watched his game, and even when he was in the NFL, and like those glimpses of like some of the throws he does make. Um, and I think you just have to put him in the right place. He's reconnecting with two of his former teammates. I think that's going to be huge. People don't realize how huge it is to throw the guys that you love throwing to. And we'll see what happens. And again, maybe he is a bridge QB for 2 years, and you're going to draft a guy next year. That's fine. But we'll see. But again, I don't mind the move. I think the Jets 20 million is a little steep per year, but at the end of the day, I think there wasn't many other options. Like unless you really want to go out for Russell Wilson, but ain't no one if Aaron Rodgers is not going to stay. There's no way they're going to get Russell Wilson, an older guy. So I think they get a guy who's still like 26 years old, by the way, which we forget. He's like 26, 27. So like he's still young. He's still got a lot of years left in him.
Yeah, we'll see. So just going over picks, at least in my draft, I had Abdul Carter going to Cleveland, and I don't know now that Miles is
Dude,
going to
if they got
stay.
Abdul Carter though, dude, can you imagine
That's
that?
that's the other thing is like I wouldn't even be
Dude,
mad if you still took Abdul Carter
dude,
because wouldn't Miles Garrett and Abdul Carter be sick?
that's just a deadly combo up front.
But I wonder since Miles is staying if they maybe consider other options because they could go corner with Travis Hunter there. I don't know if it really fits a huge need. Will Campbell could be a
Mason
solid
Graham,
piece
that wouldn't be
at
bad
two,
either.
or Mason Graham, yeah, and on that interior DT because we do need that since, like you
Or
said,
do you go
Tomlinson is
tackle? You go
gone.
Will Campbell.
Right,
You
that's
still
what
have
I
a
was just
tackle.
saying too. Will
Yeah.
Campbell could be that piece too, but yeah, there's at least some flexibility at that two pick now that I might have to play around with once time comes, and then. Like I was saying earlier with Vegas, Shadur Sanders, if I believe
Well,
that Geno
luckily I didn't
Smith
do
is
that.
a yeah, if I believe that Geno Smith is a guy that Pete Carroll just knows and wanted over there, or if Geno's a vet that can help Shadur get time to get ready, I'll have to play around with that idea a little bit.
Our Donovan
Um,
Jackson thing for Houston's looking real good right now. our,
maybe
our
uh,
Donovan Jackson thing's looking real good.
Chicago taking Mimbo from Mizzou at tackle. They're the ones that traded for Tunzel, right?
No, no, no. That was Commanders. Commanders traded for
Commanders
Tunsil.
trade him. Okay,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
mind. That's still a possibility then. But yeah, Commanders are having I think, one of the better off seasons too. Going out and getting Debo, going out and getting Tunzel, basically in win now mode for Jaden Daniels. Um, let's see. Arizona, I had them going Mike Green at edge, and I know they signed Sweat, but they probably should get another one because, like I said, they were terrible at rushing the passer last year.
I think you could also see the Steelers instead. I have them going safety. I think you could see them going quarterback here if they decide not to sign any of the veteran guys. Maybe this is where
Yeah.
Jackson Dart sits, right? And you get a Jackson Dart, which honestly kind of fits that. Like, I feel like could be that quarterback they need that is not great, but he's also not bad, right? Like he's kind of in that middle realm. Or you wait a little later and get Will Howard. Will Howard's a Pennsylvania kid, and you bring even though he is an Eagles fan, which would just be hilarious to see him
Mhm.
in Pittsburgh's colors.
Hmm.
as well. So there's that one as well.
And then the last one I'll touch on is Seattle. I had them going Kelvin Banks here, but there's obviously a lot more
Receiver
needs
need.
across the offense now that they could maybe decide to address depending on who's available
I,
there.
I'll be honest, my picks across the board before we even knew about these free agents, like it's almost like I knew Josh because I have Seattle taking a receiver, I have Houston taking a tackle, I have some of these teams that they need the position now more than ever, and now I have them taking them. So now the Chargers taking Amari Hampton now seems a little bit far fetched. That one's probably going to change because I don't think they're going to get a running back if they've just signed Harris. I don't think they
Right.
would take one in the first round. But like Jackson Dart also not going to the Jets unless something crazy happens. But all my other ones, to be honest with you, like kind of fit in. Like maybe does San Fran go edge instead of tackle because they see that hey we didn't get Bosa, maybe you go edge. I'm not sure. Um, Cowboys just need everything. I feel like I could throw every position out there and they could take that.
Hmm.
Um, but even like, like what do the Patriots do now? What are the Jaguars? Jaguars basically unloaded everyone. Like I could put anybody in that slot. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. But I think at the end of the day, um I think for the Browns, if I look at this pick, this is where the Browns go, what can we get for this pick? I really do. Like if they let's say go out and sign Russell Wilson, Josh, let's say they sign Russell Wilson in the next like let's say, I don't know, week. Let me ask you this question. Do you, as a GM of the Browns, sit there and go, "What can we get for the number two pick"? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I mean before the Miles trade request came out, that was something I was playing around with my head is like, do we trade the two pick, maybe even try to trade Miles and just like accumulate a bunch of picks like for the next two drafts
Yeah.
and just try to really embrace this rebuild. But yeah.
No, I think you could get. I mean, that's my thing. So I think you either go out and get Abdul Carter, or you get. I think the most logical thing that's going to happen now is either they take Will Campbell at 2, or they drop down. Because again, it depends on this quarterback situation. But maybe they drop down to let's say 4 or 5, and then you get Will Campbell there. I just think Will Campbell now is starting to make a lot more sense because they don't have Jedrick Wills, and now you have that tackle spot that you need someone there. So I think that's where you're going to go with Will Campbell. That's at least where my gut is. But again, we have a few weeks before our next mock draft because obviously, Josh, we have the old March Madness that is
We do.
approaching us, which is we paid so much attention over the last few months of college basketball that we totally or know what's going on. All I know is the Buckeyes might not make it again. So, just
Mm,
living the dream.
yeah. Uh, yeah, I've been trying to dig in a little bit too. I mean, I've been hearing bits and pieces most of the season about some teams, and I mean, one of them, like I've touched on before, Auburn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a few things I like about Auburn. Right now, they're coming into this conference tournament week ranked third in the country at 27-4. A lot of these guys were on the team last year that was a 4 seed that I really liked and picked to go to the Final Four, but lost to that 13 seed in the first round. I can't remember what the team was, but obviously you got that bad taste in your mouth. You want to come out and get redemption. There's 10 seniors on this roster, Ben. That's something that I
Yeah,
really
that's
like
nuts,
when it
man.
comes to
That's
tournament time.
crazy.
Yeah, and they're all like some of the big producers too. Like four of
Yeah.
their five leading scorers are seniors. Like a lot of their leading rebound
Which means
guys
they're just
are.
going to be bad next year.
It could be, yeah, unless they get like a massive haul in the transfer portal or somehow get an insane freshman class. But yeah, it's like Auburn's been working towards this. Bruce Pearl and the gang over there have been working towards this, and
Bruce
I know
deserves
Auburn's
it,
one.
man. Bruce deserves it, man. He's been
He's
so
been in the game
close.
for a while. Yeah, gotten had a lot of good teams over the years, but yeah, I know Auburn being three, like it's like I won't say a no-brainer to pick them as like a early contender, but it's like that's one team that's like I think without looking at the bracket, they might be my favorite to win it all. I could see myself picking them as a champion. Uh, what about you? What are your thoughts on Auburn, or who would you say is
Well,
like your early favorite?
I mean, Auburn obviously is up there for me. I think Connecticut, I don't even know if they're going to make the tournament this year because
They got a 22-9
yeah,
record. I think that should be
they're
good
going to
enough.
slip
It's
in.
just
But yeah, I
going to
watched
be
the
like
60
maybe a seven
minutes.
or an 8 seed,
Watched the
maybe.
60 minutes on Hurley, dude. That dude is weird. That dude is just nuts. I don't know if
He's
you've
a different
ever,
breed, man.
dude, like his like he does like he burns sage on the court before the game. Dude, there's some like weird things that he does, man. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. No, I think for me, like I just a three-peat's so hard. You know this. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't, unless something crazy does happen. But look, you can't count out Michigan State. Obviously, Michigan State for the Big Ten. I think Michigan State looks really good this year. I've seen different games involving Ohio State and other teams in the Big Ten. Um, Ohio State won't make it this year, so they're not going to be my pick. But yeah, outside of that, like I feel like there's not really like a team really sticking out that's like that is the team. You know, like UConn was the last couple of years.
Yeah,
A couple other teams that really stick out in my mind is I kind of look down at the SEC, right? Like is Calipari going to do something with Arkansas? Because I think they're going to slide in. I think they're going to be able to make it.
they might sneak in low.
Yeah. And then think about what teams are going to come out of the Big 12, right? You always have at least one good 12 team. Who's going to come out of the Big East, right? Like so for me, I like going around to different conferences and seeing like what teams can participate. And also it's March Madness and we already have a team that's under 500 making the tournament. So like
Hmm.
that to me is just like that's part of what makes it good. Coach Estep, Cedarville, obviously a graduate of Cedarville. We interviewed him on our podcast, not our podcast, our radio show. What 10 years ago, which is
Probably somewhere
wild
around there.
now. Jeez, he's his assistant coach for Furman. They just lost their championship game to Wofford, which I just feel terrible. It'd be so cool to see Estep in the tourney,
Yeah.
but. Um, yeah, I think outside of that, I think the Big Ten is a lot deeper than people give credit for. I think you're going to see Purdue has like the best point guard I don't know if you've seen Braden Smith, dude. That dude is unreal. Dude, he averages like 6 assists a game, and in college basketball, that's nuts. So I
Hmm.
mean, Purdue's good, very good. Michigan State's good. Obviously, I think Auburn is going to run the table. Trying to think of some other teams that could run the table. Oh, let's see. Oh, Duke. Duh. Why
I
did I
was just
just say
gonna
Duke?
say like
I don't know
Duke's
why I
number
say
one
Duke.
right now in the
Yeah,
final
Duke.
top 25 with Cooper Flag.
Yeah,
Probably
Duke's gonna run the table. North Carolina is not. They're just not. Just
yeah.
not very good.
Before they lost to Duke to end the regular season, they were won like their last 7 or 8 games, so they were picking up some momentum. And I don't know what they're gonna do in the ACC tournament. I mean, I think Duke's solid. I think that Clemson's another solid team
Yeah,
in
that's what I was
that
about to say. I
conference.
was about to say Clemson is a team. They have a lot of seniors as well. They have, I think, like six or
Yeah.
seven seniors.
Yeah, Clemson's a little lower in the top 25. They're 10, so they'll probably end up with like a 3 seed, maybe, depending on how
Yeah.
this
Also,
conference tournament
I
goes.
was
But
saying Big 12, Houston. Like, dude, I feel like Houston every year
yes,
they're always up there.
Houston's so tough for me because they seem to be like a top two, top three seed going into the tournament
Oh,
the last few years.
I have a team.
But for
I
whatever
have a
reason,
team.
they just end up like losing earlier, just being unimpressive. But
My contender, St. John's. I'm 100% serious right now. Like they have one of the best coaches of all time, and they're ranked sixth in the country. They're 27-4. They play in an conference. Um, they're very talented. I've watched a lot of their games, just like highlights, because I've just been interested. But also, don't you wish you were a Florida fan in basketball, Josh?
mhm,
But look, I mean, just think about this top 25 right now, Josh. You have a team like St. John's, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Texas A&M, Memphis, BYU, St.
Clemson.
Mary's, Clemson, Missouri, Illinois, Marquette. Like just some weird teams in the top 25 as the top 25 teams in basketball. And
It's just weird enough
yeah,
that you could be like, is this a football or a
no,
basketball?
100%. St. John's throws that
Like
off,
St.
right?
John's gives it away that okay, this is basketball and maybe Duke being number one, but like if you went like any year like in the last 10 years and pulled this up, like I'd have to think about it
Yeah,
a
and
little bit.
so I'm excited because I believe next week, yeah, because this coming is Selection Sundays on Sunday. So
This Sunday Selection
next
Sunday, yeah, I
week
think this show will
will
be out
be
before that
our
comes out.
oh boy, oh boy. Next week is the frightening
Bracket week.
time where we
Hmm.
always where Josh and I this
Yeah.
sounds so confident. We sound so confident on the show, and then within like 8 days, we're just like Nice to know you. And maybe we'll even have Rebecca put hers up and see what she put, and maybe my dad, and we'll have a few different ones to compare. But we all
Hey, you
know
want
that.
to hear?
Oh no, let's go.
I was
I
gonna
want to
say,
hear
you
it.
want to hear my early Cinderella
Oh jeez.
prediction?
Oh no,
I've done
Josh.
enough research that I think I can confidently come up
Oh
with one.
boy, Josh, you're gonna ruin it here now. Don't ruin it.
UC San Diego.
Why? Why?
So UC San Diego, Ben, is top five in the country. Mind you, this is against like a weak conference against
Mid
whatever
majors, yeah.
conference they play. So mid-major, but they're top five in the country in point differential. So they're scoring way more than what their opponents are. They got top five in the country in steals. They are top five in the country in fewest turnovers. So they go out, they force turnovers, they take care of the basketball, they outscore their opponent very widely. One of those teams that I could see maybe coming out and maybe getting one or two surprise wins. You know, maybe they're that 14 seed that beats a three, or maybe that 13 seed that beats a four, something like that. But
And speaking
not
of,
that like I would pick them to go to the Elite Eight or the
true,
Final Four, but just we always look for like who's going to be that next St.
yeah.
Peter's or who's going to be that next UMBC. I don't know like how the brackets can be drawn up yet, but UC San Diego could be that team that has at least performed well
You've heard it
enough
here,
in the regular
folks.
season
You've
and
heard
is
it
doing a
here.
lot of the right things as far as
Yeah.
like forcing turnovers, taking care of the
Well,
basketball, winning by
yeah.
comfortable margins. That could be like, yeah, maybe why wouldn't it be UC San Diego?
Before we get too far into the next segment, our last big segment is what is your fondest memory of March Madness for you? The fondest
Hmm.
memory watching all the years. I mean, obviously, me and you grew up in the same way, where you literally at school when you're in high school, you'd find a way to get your iPad to show the game while you're in class, right? Like, so
Hmm.
what is your fondest memory of watching March Madness?
Man. Well, I think if I had to go with that, I think it's just the whole North Carolina situation in 2016 and 2017,
Yeah.
because I got to experience all that with my roommate at the time, Andrew Yunt, who you know,
Yep.
who
Yeah. Yep.
I
Yep.
was roommates with my senior year. But just going from that 2016 season to when Villanova, Marcus Page hits the three, obviously, to tie things up
Yep.
late. And then Chris Jenkins goes down and hits that game-winning three. Like we go through that motion of thinking we just forced overtime to Jenkins just puts it away for Nova, and we're just stunned and disappointed. But then the next season comes around and everybody's back basically. Uh, it's just one of those things where it's like there's no way North Carolina doesn't win the title this year, losing the way they did last year, and
Yeah.
everybody coming back with that whole idea in mind of winning. Basically, just the only one that wasn't back from the year before was Marcus
Yeah.
Page. Either in the Elite Eight or the Final Four, they were playing that Kentucky team that had De'Aaron Fox, Bam
Yeah. Really
Adebayo,
good team.
Malik
Yeah.
Monk. It was loaded, and we were going back and forth all game long. And it was kind of a similar ending where Malik Monk hits this insane three-pointer, where it's like, oh my gosh, man, it can't be happening again. But then we go down the court with a few seconds left, kick it out to Luke May, who's not really been a big contributor all season long. He kind of became a hero in the tournament and
Older
hits
brother of Drake May, by the way. Fun fact.
older brother of Drake May, yeah, North Carolina legacy kid. Their dad was a North Carolina athlete too. But Luke hits makes himself a North Carolina legend forever by hitting the game winning. I don't know if it was a
It
three
was
or if it
three.
was
It was
just
a
a
three. Yeah. It
long mid
was three.
range, but yeah, puts them away. Like probably that game right there was the most entertaining college basketball game I've ever seen. Back and forth, so much star power at the college level, and obviously some names on that Kentucky team that you know in the NBA now. But man, Joel Berry on that team too, one of my favorite Tar Heels of all time. And eventually, you know, this is how the story ends. We go on to uh, reach the Final Four, reach the championship, and we win it. And it's just one of those like crazy stories of redemption. But
And it goes back to your college days
earliest me
too. And it goes back to your
and
college
the
day
college
too.
ages,
Yeah.
and just like I said, getting to experience that with another
Yeah.
Tar Heel, another one of my best friends, that's probably the fondest. But the earliest ones that I can remember that really got me into the tournament to begin with, and really started, I guess, the process of solidifying me as a college basketball fan, were just 2006 was the first year that I watched, and that was when George Mason, I believe a
Oh yeah.
13
That
seed
was, yeah.
or 11 seed, maybe it
Yeah.
was, reached all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, like never going to see anything like this or never really see anything like that before. Uh, and then just like that year too, Florida won the Natty, but then the next year, after beating Ohio State in the football championship, beats Ohio State in the basketball championship. Just like
Thank you
you
for
got to
bringing
be
back
kidding
that
me. Like
memory.
if
Thank
you're an
you.
Ohio State fan, like it
Appreciate
was
it.
tough for Ohio. It was tough for Ohio State fans. I know for
Yeah.
you and for like everybody around me. It's like Florida beat us on like two sports like that, and like those are some of my earlier memories. But the finest ones are definitely those North Carolina ones.
Yeah. Hmm.
What about you?
I think my obviously Ohio State hasn't won a national title since 1960 in basketball, so don't have any of those to really live on. But mine was actually I don't know if you remember the player Ron Lewis who played for Ohio State.
Ron Lewis hit a game-winning shot
Yes,
against Xavier in that 2006
yes.
run, right? Yep, I
So
watched
that
that
was
game.
that
Ron
was my
Lewis with Mike
first.
Conley as a freshman and
Yep,
Greg Oden as a freshman.
that was
What a
my
squad.
fondest. That was my fondest moment because I was with my buddy. We were at his house. It was like I think we had like a day off school or something like that. I can't remember, or maybe it was a Saturday. I'm not sure. But we were there, and I remember watching him hit that shot, and I remember like that got me hooked on basketball more, and it got me hooked on like the whole world of sports. So that one always will stick home. And then probably I think just the fondest memories I have in general is just spending it with friends, man. Like I remember having like sleepovers with like my buddies, and like we would watch March Madness all Friday night. We'd like we'd go out to eat on Saturday, then we'd come back Saturday night and do it again. Like I remember those moments, and even in college, the same thing. I remember watching with Sean Mitchell. I think you remember Sean and Trey Barnes. Like we would
Hmm.
watch March Madness, and I was with the basketball team, so we would all just hang out watching March Madness, right? So for me, it's just the memories that go with it, and I think that's what makes it a little weird for me living here. Is like I don't really have a lot of people that like March Madness, so a lot of times I'm just watching the games by myself. But to me, that is like something that I love doing. Is like, and I miss doing with like some of my guys. But yeah, like that's probably the fondest memory I have for
Yeah.
sure.
I'll throw out another unique one, and this doesn't pertain to like the D1 men's tournament, but I can't remember if this was my freshman year or my sophomore year, if you would have been included or not, or maybe you at least remember it from being in the basketball program when the Cedarville girls actually made the
Yep,
D2
I
national
remember because
tournament.
that was my senior year of high school. But I was actually in this. I'm also with this. This is crazy because I was actually in I was actually on site at campus. I was basically doing like a with you remember Nate Hughes and John Leonzo. So
Yes.
they were the student assistants before me, and they actually invited me like that. It was like I would basically get to watch what they did the whole afternoon, and like I was on a visit for school in general to like get myself ready to go to school at Cedarville. So then they just had me like hang out, and I got to watch the game with them. Like that was like yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I know we did, the girls didn't win their first game, but yeah, campus, there was a big watch party that the school
Yeah,
put together, and we got to watch them at least play on that stage. It's like you don't get to really see that too
no,
much at the D2 level, especially being at Cedarville. You kind of have to win your conference to
yeah.
make
To
that
even have a
spot, but
shot. Yeah.
yeah, and
No.
they had a couple close uh, opportunities too, where they would like either make the conference championship or something like that, or just come short. But yeah, that
Yeah.
year in particular, that was cool too to see the alma mater get represented at that stage. But that's
Oh.
another like unique March Madness memory.
Yeah, and what's also kind of fascinating before we get into our Vetchkin that we're going to finish the show with is that something we were talking about mid majors. There's big news coming out of football in the mid majors, Josh, this week, and that is Eddie George, the great Ohio State running back, is now the new head coach of Bowling Green State University. Your thoughts on that move?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise at first. I know Eddie's obviously an Ohio football legend, being a former Buckeye, Heisman Trophy winner, and all that. So everybody in Ohio knows him. I think if I remember right, he got into coaching mostly like at the lower levels and wanted to maybe go like the Deion Sanders route with the
Yeah,
HBCUs
because
and stuff like that.
He was at Tennessee State this past
Yeah,
year.
and I don't know how well they did over
They
there,
were nine
but
and four last year. They were like 3-9, then went 5-6, and then now 9-4, something like that.
so some improvement. Yeah, not recruiting to like the levels that Deion was getting guys like his son and Travis to come out, but still like making an impact on the program.
I mean,
Like
heck,
took a
he
took a
interviewed
losing
for the
team to a
Bears
winning team.
job.
Yeah, that's crazy. But obviously a guy that like knows the game really well.
Knows Ohio.
So getting to go to Bowling Green, I think that's sick. Being able to be a head coach over here, uh, a program that like can win sometimes in that conference,
They've been
sometimes
winning
not.
10. They've won 10 games, I think, the last 2 years. I think so. They're doing well, at least now.
For now, yeah. And I also wonder, like, as he continues to climb the coaching ladder, I don't know if like his goal is to be a college football head coach, but I just got in the back of my head, like, what if he ends up at in Ohio State again as like the running back coach, or
So no, they
maybe
offered
a
him last year. They offered him last year when the guy left to go to Michigan, whatever I forget his name.
yeah,
Um,
Tony Alford.
yeah. So when Alfred left to go to Michigan, they actually called him and he said. So I think what a lot of insiders are saying is that he doesn't really have an ambition to be a position coach. Like he just wants to lead men. So I
Wants to
don't know
lead
if
man.
you'll
Okay.
ever see him unless the Ohio State head job opens. Then I'd see he's like the first name I think they'll call if they would
Hmm.
open up.
Interesting. Okay.
Because Urban Meyer's the one that helped him get this job. Like Urban Meyer, like gave him like basically the like a good endorsement. So
Yeah, both Buckeyes. Urban obviously got his start at Bowling Green, I believe,
yep,
way back in the day. So familiar with
yeah.
that program and how they do things. But that's interesting. Yeah.
And when you're talking about greatness, there's one man on the ice that has been showing greatness, Josh, and I think you need to talk about it because I know that's kind of your love a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Ovechkin now, we mentioned it last time that he was 13 goals
Yep,
away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record. At the moment right now, keeping up with the current tally, he
he
is
is
now 9 goals away.
nine or
Nine
eight. Is it
goals
an eight
away.
or nine? Is it 8 or 9?
It's nine, I think.
9?
I'll see if I can
I
find that
can't
out
remember.
real
I thought it
quick.
was 8, but maybe I just miscounted because math is not my
When I was
thing.
coming up with the layout for the show, at least it was nine. He could have scored in the last day or so, though. Let me see if I can find that here.
I thought he was 8, but I could be bad at math though too, which makes sense.
Okay, Ovechkin scores goal number 886. He's nine shy of setting the mark.
So
So
he's 9 shy. 8.
eight from
Okay, yeah,
tying,
yeah, yeah.
nine from setting the mark. Okay. And yeah, we still got I mean, we're getting a little further into March, but we got a couple more weeks left where it's like, hey, depending on how quick he can score, I mean, if he has one of those days where it's like he can get a hat trick here and maybe like one goal here and there, like it could happen this season. But
Hmm.
that's like the big thing is I think Ovechkin's gonna get it.
Oh, I think so. I think he
It's
will
just a
too.
matter of will it
Yeah.
be before this season
And
ends, or will he come have
yeah,
to come back next year
and
and
I
do it
also think
then?
there's another fascinating thing that I heard recently that he's not the only one breaking a record. Um, Sidney Crosby's about to break Gretzky's record of averaging a point a game for 20 straight seasons. Right now, the record is 19 straight seasons. This would be 20 straight seasons of
Averaging a
him
point a
averaging
game?
a point a game.
Wow.
So just imagine that a point a game for a season. And he did that 19 years in a row, and he'll be doing that. But no one's talking about it, which it's such a big deal. But no one's talking about it because of Ovechkin doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Dude, the other crazy thing is just thinking that Crosby's been playing hockey for 20 seasons.
And he's younger than Ovechkin, which is even wilder.
Hmm.
Which he's got at least another couple years ahead of him.
Yeah, Crosby broke on like super early on in his life, but yeah, Ovechkin's obviously been around for a long time. Just
And the
like,
Blue
dang man,
Jackets are
Crosby's
good,
killing.
man. And the Blue Jackets are good. They're
Are they?
actually good. Yeah, they're like look at the record.
I
They're
haven't
not
checked the
bad.
NHL standings in a while. I just when I was watching them early on in the season, they weren't looking so hot.
You should look at them now. They're definitely hot. They're hotter than ice. It's not really
Hotter
saying
than ice.
much.
Okay, well they're 31 and 25 right now.
I
Yeah.
told you. Ain't
Dang.
bad.
Yeah, not they are fourth in the Metropolitan Division.
See, not bad. They're hanging out. They're
Fourth in the
hanging right
Metro, they
there.
are one, two, three, four, five, six, and eighth in the Eastern Conference. So,
They're right there.
hey, maybe we'll get to see some CBJ playoff hockey
I
this year.
know. Maybe you'll get to go to a game. Maybe
Maybe
it'll
get
be
to go
for
to a
the
game, and
Kings.
we'll
Maybe
have to
like the
talk
Stanley
about it with
Cup.
some. We'll get to talk Columbus Blue Jackets and Cleveland Cavaliers playoffs
Dude,
in
talk
the
about the
month of
Cavs,
April.
by the way. 55-10. If you would have told me the Cavaliers would be 55-10, I would have said you are crazy. And when Shaq and Chuck are even saying that the Cavs are going to win the title, I'm all down for it.
That leads me to a point. I don't know if you heard the discussion going on at ESPN.
Oh,
I think it
geez.
was Kendrick
Oh, of
Perkins,
course it was, because
that
Perk.
said that the Lakers are saving the NBA this season
I'm sorry,
because they
what?
had like a stretch of 2 good weeks of basketball.
So you're
Meanwhile,
talking
OKC and the Cleveland Cavs have been on consistent runs all season
the
long.
Cavs have had two 15-game win streaks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up
Golly.
is okay, I think and it's ESPN. Like they do well when the Lakers do well because of the market that they're in. They got a lot of fans. Like when the smaller markets like OKC and Cleveland do well, like for TV purposes, we see it. Like if Boston and LA were in the finals, that would obviously draw a bigger crowd than maybe like what a Cleveland OKC one would, I would guess. But to act like the NBA
It's
season's
Perk
just
though, dude.
like
That dude's an
at a
idiot.
loss,
Just an idiot.
then there's other reasons going on. We've talked about it, why the NBA season has been basically a major L this year because of no unique styles of play. Everybody just
No,
run and
everyone.
gun
It's
and
a pick
jacking
and
up
roll.
threes,
It's
forced
pick and roll,
turnovers.
kick, pick and roll, kick. That's all it is.
And then the All-Star game was just like peak why the NBA is
And then
unwatchable
now
as
the
it is.
WNBA players are saying they're going to go on strike. That did, and then I think it was the Craning Company or someone was like, "Okay, and it's not like we're going to miss you on TV." So,
Well, the other thing that I saw too is if they went on strike and didn't have a season, it'd be the first time that the league was like profitable or like didn't lose money. Like it'd be good for business if they didn't play a
oh
season.
boy, the Cleveland. By the way, Cleveland's getting a WNBA team.
They will. Yeah, so that gives us more sports to watch in Northeast Ohio.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, WNBA. Just enjoying that one.
Yeah,
Um, No, I mean, look, I think overall, man, Ohio sports, they're going to be doing well. I mean, obviously they have the Guardians and the Reds are going to be kicking off here in the next
both at
month.
least preseason contenders
Yeah.
for winning the divisions.
We have the greatest coach of all time right now, so Terry Francona. You still salty about that?
I'm not salty. I told you my thoughts on it.
I know. No, but he talked about how like he's like it's kind of fun to see how much fun Ellie De La Cruz has. Like he goes, I've never seen a guy have so much fun playing baseball. Like he just smiles all the time.
It is cool. Yeah,
Like it's that's fun.
at least right now, there's not really any reason to hate Ellie. Like,
No, like the
fun guy
dude
to
is
watch,
so
super
fun, man.
talented. Like you said, all
He
smiles,
learned
having a blast.
English so he could do interviews in English. Like no,
Meanwhile, you
none of
got
Hispanics do that.
yeah, like Mariano Rivera has like played 20 years in the league and still need interpreters at the end of the day.
This dude literally learned it because
Jose Ramirez is getting better in English too. He still has like his interpreter for maybe some of the more complex answers, but seen on TV, he'll give like some full English answers, and
no,
it's
I
cool
just
to
love
see
the
that
guy.
stuff.
Do you
Guys
remember
put
the
in effort like
guy
that.
from the Toronto Blue Jays? He was a Japanese guy, and he always just had like one-liners. Do you remember that
Was he
guy?
the one that talked about bananas,
Yeah,
cramps?
he's like bananas, cramps. I eat bananas. Like,
Just cramp,
yeah,
just
just
cramp.
cramp, just
And what
cramp.
do you do to like break or to get rid of the cramps?
Banana,
Bananas. How many
bananas.
do you eat? Two. And
Two
why bananas?
cramps.
Because monkey never cramps.
Like it was just
Fantastic.
it was like that's the interview I need. I don't need these like dudes being like all cocky. Like just have fun with it. Like if it's a stupid question, just go with it. No, but Joe, that was the one thing I miss about Joey Votto is like he was so good with the reporters. Like he just would poke fun at them. Like when he dressed up as the Canadian like what is it, the border patrol guy, and he just showed up to
Ha.
the just in the Canadian border patrol guy. Like that's just great.
hmm
But no, I'm excited for baseball. Obviously, Garrett Cole's down for the Yankees, which I just laugh because I'm like, you spend so much
Yankees got a
money.
lot of health issues, man.
And did you
It's
hear
gonna
what
be
Trevor Bauer
interesting.
said? Trevor Bauer's in
Uh,
Europe right now. Just
he's pleading
he,
his case to be a Yankee.
dude, he's literally said, and I don't get why no team jumps on him. He's pitching amazing right now. He's doing all this stuff in Europe. He's helping people out, and he's like, I'll work for the minimum, and you don't have to pay me anything, and I'll
There's
win you a
something
Cy
else
Young.
going on there, man, because he's not the only player
He's been
in the
proven not
league.
guilty.
Yeah. And there's been guys that have been proven guilty or at least were accused, like Marcelo Zuna,
Yeah,
that still have jobs. So it makes you wonder if there's something else going on with Trevor. I know that they talk about him being like a locker room problem and having a short fuse and stuff like that. And so
but
he's
if you look like
difficult to work with.
he's also unique. He doesn't like trainers. Like he likes his own guy.
He likes
So
having his own
like,
guys, I think his own catcher, like those kind of
yeah.
things.
So like, look, I get it. but honestly, the last time he pitched for the Reds, he won a Cy Young.
He won a
Like,
Cy Young in the last full season he played.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the dude, and also the guy, he's not pitching a lot, so which means his arm is healthy. Like he's not gonna wear down. Like he's good to go.
Yeah.
He was literally pitching in England to like plumbers, like just to see like what's going. Like
Yeah.
that's what he's doing right now. And
Hmm.
he said he's making as much money as he would doing YouTube than he would as a pitcher right now.
He's making as much money doing YouTube as he would as a pitcher.
Yeah, like as a pitcher with like a normal contract because of like what he makes with
Okay.
ad revenue and stuff.
Okay. That makes sense. I was like, wait, when he was playing, he would have been making like 10 to 15 million, but
Yeah, but
I
like
don't
a
know if you can
normal
pull that in
contract.
YouTube,
Yeah.
but
So he
yeah,
goes,
a
I don't
normal
mind. He
contract,
goes,
that
I don't
makes
mind.
sense.
So
Yeah, still
yeah,
still a sustainable living
yeah.
for the dude.
But yeah. So, anyways,
Cool.
as
Heck
you
of a
guys,
show today,
yeah,
man.
greatest show. As you guys know, next week will be March Madness. So get your brackets ready. You can fill them out with us. We'll have them filled out right in front of us. We'll be going through all the games, and we'll make fun of each other because every
Mhm.
year there's one of us that decided we think one team's going to be a Cinderella team, and then every year
You
the
got to
first
pick
round they
one because
lose,
there's always a Cinderella or
and they
two that
always lose the
happens.
first round for us. You know that, Josh.
Yeah,
They
you
always
always
lose.
have a Final Four team that loses early, and you always have a Cinderella that
Or
you
if you're Ben,
pick.
yours all four of yours lose in the first three rounds, and then you're screwed.
That's tough.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I had a tough time with
Anyways,
Final Fours last year too.
you did. You did have a rough one. And yet Rebecca also did well. So I don't get how that works. But anyways, we hope you guys had a great time. Listen to us, watching us. If you're on YouTube, go click that thumbs up button, the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Let us know. Comment down below. I want you to comment. What is your favorite March Madness memory? Can be any memory. Could be skipping work. Just don't tell your
Mhm.
boss. But please write that down below. If you love listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, let us know. Share it. Give us favorites, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, we'll see ya.